Hi guys, it's Alex Base here. Today I've got the CMF Phone 1 by nothing, and this is the 8 gigabytes of RAM version with 128 gigabytes of storage. And as you can see, I don't need to open the box, so you're gonna figure it out straight away that there is no charger in it. Right, let's open it and see what exactly is inside of it. I'm just guessing it's a USB-C cable in the phone. There's the phone itself. Put this one aside for a moment. It's a USB-C to USB-C cable, and the usual user guide, and a bit of the warranty. Oh, and just a second, there's something here. I'm guessing this is the SIM ejection tool, of course. Very funky one. I do like it actually. Right, so that's all in the box. Put this one aside for a second. And let's have a look at the device. And this is the dark gray color. It's a bit funky made. Maybe some extra effort here. And obviously gonna tear it. There we go. I'm better off just sliding it down. Yep. So this is the device itself. Actually, I do like that design. Nothing has been ever since they were founded by Carl Pei. They've been producing some eye-catching design on all of their devices, not just phones, actually, earbuds as well. And that's no different. And this is obviously the CMF version, which is their budget version. And it's got two cameras from the back, but it's actually only one. This is a depth sensor, the other one. It's a 50 megapixel Sony IMX, I believe it is 882. And this one actually is with a removable cover. It's got screws here that you can remove, as well as one hiding over here. Just bear with me. It's a bit tough. No, I don't have no intention to do it, but if you want to swap cases, there are several colors that you can choose from nothing, and replace them. There's red, there's green, as far as I know, as well. And this one's got a dual SIM card and mono speaker. It's not stereo, but then again, it's a budget phone afterwards. And as I can see, however, there's a screen protector applied on over the phone. At least no case, but at least that's pretty good. Let's go the screen protector on, and also it's a very nice tight finish. Let's set it up, see if it's got any juice, and we're gonna go over it. Let's see. It's actually got any juice in it. There we go. Let me set it up and we will be right back. There you go. Set it up. And pretty clean. Nothing to speak of any other apps and bloatware, unless of course you count this as bloatware. All the Google apps here. Yeah, for me they're a bit annoying, but other people don't find that annoying, so it's fine, I guess. It is a bit snappy. Very interesting layout as well. I do like it. It's down to personal choice, of course. And it's got some customizations, which is pretty funky. You can change your wallpaper or the layout, and of course the icons could be nothing set up or just regular one by default. And this phone, as I said earlier, is the 8 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage. It's got the MediaTek Dimensity 7300 as a chipset, and runs on Android 14. Speaking of Android 14, this phone has been promised 2 years of software updates and 3 years of security patches by nothing. Got a RAM booster up to 8 gigabytes. That's the RAM expansion through if you want to if you run out, I strongly doubt it, I will, but if you run out of RAM, you can add some from the storage, which could be virtual RAM, of course, and it's gonna help out with the speed. Not a lot, but it does do make some difference. I tend to keep this one off at the minute, but if you're playing heavy games or anything like it, not heavy games, but heavier games, this is not it's a budget phone afterwards, but still, it's gonna be interesting. It's got some game mode, but it's not a lot here, of course. It's got like some mistouch prevention, but it's not much to speak of. System update's already one to be done. We can download it shortly. And also something that was interesting was apart from the display that's 120 hertz, does not have HDR support. However, it's got HDR display that can help you with it. I'm not entirely sure what to make of this one, but we're gonna see it afterwards in the video, or actually videos I was watching, and it's pretty interesting here. It's obviously 120 hertz or 60 hertz. This one, it's got a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, charges at 33 watts. Not very fast at all, but still, I guess it's a little bit faster. After all, Samsung A series charge at 25 watts, and Google Pixels charge at about 27 watts. iPhones charge at no more than 27 as well. So yeah, it's not too bad at all, not too shabby. And it's got the adaptive brightness feature, which is great. So not a lot to speak of. It's very clean, very snappy software, nothing OS. So I've got no complaints really. An interesting thing here is actually in the photos. The phone actually has got the Ultra HDR in Google Photos, just on significantly more expensive phones, which is excellent. That was a very pleasant surprise. There's one last thing before we kick it off. The phone does not have NFC. Yeah, too bad. It's a bugger. Near field communication, so no Google Pay on this one. Yeah, that's a bit of a shame, isn't it? Just a quick clarification about the SIM card. It's a dual SIM. However, you can either use one SIM card, it's a nano SIM, and a micro SD expandable memory card, or use double SIM and no SD card. It's up to you. Everyday use of the phone is actually quite nice, and I did have fun with it throughout the day, even though it does not have always on display, but the fingerprint is very fast. Works pretty quick, which is nice, and the phone feels pretty good overall. This phone also has a physical proximity sensor, unlike many others who have got a virtual sensor, and just like the Samsung A55 and A35, that's pretty annoying. Kudos to nothing for putting a physical one here. The refresh rate is a straightforward affair. It's either 60 hertz or 120 hertz. At 60 hertz, everything is fixed at it. Doesn't matter if it is the web browsing or menus or videos or maps. It's everything at 60 hertz. When you change it to 120 hertz, you get 120 hertz in the menu and in the interface, and when you're web browsing as well, which is interesting indeed, and does not go to 60 hertz when you don't interact with it. YouTube, for example, is 120 hertz, but once you start watching the video, it's down to 60 hertz. And in the Google Photos or your own photos in the Nothing gallery, it's actually 120 hertz as well. 60 hertz, however, in Google Maps. The screen gets very bright, and it's an 120 hertz Super AMOLED 8-bit color screen. It's 16 million colors, and it's actually very nice for this budget class, and the videos are pretty good with nice deep blacks and with good HDR when you turn it on into the settings, the Ultra HDR thing. And then watching matches is also okay. and this is not a flagship top class display, but for this price point it is excellent, really, with a capital E. You can also watch 4K content as well. Now moving on to the speaker, just a mono speakers, nothing special, but let's hear it out. Now let's move on to the battery. It's a 5000 milliamp hour battery with 33 watt charging. 15 minutes of charge took it to 26%, half an hour took it to 50%, and a full charge took 1 hour and 22 minutes. I did this test at 120 Hz, so that means at 60 Hz is going to be even better probably. 1 hour of phone calls took it down by 1%, 1 hour of web browsing took it down by 3%, 1 hour of videos took it down by 1%, and 1 hour of gaming took it down by 5%. This is phenomenal battery life in my book for sure. The phone scored pretty well in the Geekbench 6 and also in the 3D Mark tests for stability too. And to confirm the great performance of this phone, these are the scores. It's got a stability of 99.5%, which is freaking phenomenal. The phone never got hot or anything during the testing, by the way. Usually every phone, iPhones, OnePlus 12 or any flagship gets really warm, even hot. This one did not budge at all. Absolutely fantastic stability and performance. There you go. You can see 21 to 31 degrees. Absolutely amazing. And in the other test I did, it aced them. And it is fantastic, really performance. I'm very happy, both GPU and CPU wise. It's got its limitations, of course. It's a budget device after all, but I am absolutely astounded by the stability of this phone. Gaming was relatively stable, actually. I did enjoy it on the MediaTek Dimensity 7300. And all games were 60 Hz. One game, however, was 120 Hz. That was Brawl Stars. So high frame gaming is possible for a small selection of games on the CMF Phone 1, which is pretty good. And let's finish it off with the cameras. We got a 50 megapixel Sony IMX 882 on the back, no optical image stabilization, depth sensor 2 megapixels, and a 16 megapixel selfie camera Galaxy Core sensor. Daytime photos are actually solid. I was surprised by the quality of them. They look overall nice and natural, mostly, of course. It cannot hit everything. The rendition is also okay. You can shoot in both RAW mode and regular one. That's only on the main camera, of course. But yeah, I would have to say that they are fine for such a budget device. I did like them. The dynamic range was decent. The white balance was okay-ish. And yeah, I'm actually pleasantly surprised by these shots. Even in more challenging conditions here, you can see they still pulled off some respectable images. Selfies are overall okay given the price of the phone, but the subject does look anemic in some situations. The face looks like being painted over or something. The dynamic range is very limited and they're not very sharp, but then again, given the price, I couldn't really complain much. This phone can actually shoot 4K video at 30 frames per second, which I was surprised to see. It's 1080p, 30 frames per second. Let's check the zoom. Okay. 1080p, 60 frames per second for the main one. Let's check the zoom again, 2 times zoom. There we go. And 4K, 30 frames per second. Try to zoom. Video stock is only 1080p, 30 frames per second. Well, final thoughts on the CMF Phone 1. I actually think it's a very exciting addition to a very stagnant, very, unexciting market for budget phones. And I even put a magnet on the back. I think I'm going to keep this one. And it's cool. It's customizable, even on the back, and not just the software. You can remove the case and replace with something else. This one here is a stand as well. You put it like this one. I don't use it, but yeah, you can use it. And the screen is fantastic, absolutely amazing. The main camera, I mean, for this budget class, of course, very bright as well. The camera, the main one, is quite good in daytime for this budget class. The selfie one, not so much, but still, it is what it is. I'm not going to hold it too high in that regard. It's just not going to be too critical. After all, it's a cheap phone. Other important things, the battery life is phenomenal. I really loved it. Even though it does not have a charger, that's a big minus, but still, it is charging relatively fast, considering other devices in this price range. And snappy software, and also it's with up to 3 years of security updates, so it's not too bad. On the downside, of course, they had to make some sacrifice in certain areas. They chose to remove the NFC. Too bad. No Google Pay. You cannot upload any documents, in a quick way, driving license or passport, check on the back. Too bad. And also the mono speaker instead of a stereo setup. It's a bit of a bummer. And of course, no charger. It's up to you, of course, at the end of the day. But if you're in the market for a device, in this, budget device, up to 210 quid in Britain, about 239 euros cost in the EU, and in India, I think it starts from 15,500 rupees for the 6 gigabyte model. Probably this one is 16,500 rupees. Definitely have a look at it and check it out for yourself. Well, that's all from me for now. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Ciao.